All right, let's just jump right in. We are talking about one of the most incredible, jaw-dropping places on Earth. Seriously, some people have called it the eighth wonder of the world. We're going to Sigiriya. So picture this. You're deep in the jungles of central Sri Lanka, and then bam! This colossal pillar of rock just shoots up out of the ground 200 meters straight into the sky. It is an absolutely staggering sight. And this ancient granite monolith, it's been dominating the landscape for, get this, billions of years. But, the geology, as cool as it is, isn't the real story. Not even close. Because this rock, it was transformed. It became a royal capital, a fortress that nobody could touch, a palace literally in the clouds. And it was all built because of the vision, and the sheer terror of one man. And why? Why build all this? The whole magnificent complex, one of the most advanced examples of ancient urban planning you'll ever see, was built for one single dramatic reason. A king was absolutely terrified that his brother was on his way to kill him. So to really get Sigiriya, you have to get the guy behind it. We need to talk about the dark, pretty twisted story of King Kashyapa I. And trust me, this isn't some dry history lesson. This is a family drama of epic proportions. Okay, so here's the backstory. It's around 473 CE. You've got Prince Kashyapa. He's the king's son, but not from the main queen, so he's not the rightful heir. He sees his path to the throne is blocked. So what does he do? He conspires with the army commander, a guy named Megara, who had his own beef with the king. Fast forward to 477, their coup works. Kashyapa grabs the throne, throws his own father in prison, and his half-brother Moggallana, the actual heir, has to flee for his life to India, vowing he'll be back for revenge. And what happened to the old king, his father? It's just brutal. Kashyapa and Megara had him bound in chains and sealed him up inside a wall, alive. I mean, think about that. This act of killing his own father, patricide, it haunted Kashyapa. It made him a total outcast, hated by his own people, and just completely paranoid. He knew his brother wasn't kidding about that vow of revenge, so his reign starts with blood, and he's going to spend the rest of it just consumed by fear.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This is where that all-consuming fear gets turned into, well, genius. Kashyapa took all that paranoia and just channeled it. He channeled it into creating one of the most incredible feats of engineering the ancient world had ever seen. He decided he was going to build a capital so secure, so completely untouchable, that no army on Earth could ever get to him.
And he chose this rock. Now, geologically speaking, it's basically the hardened magma core of an old dead volcano. But for Kashyapa, those sheer, nearly vertical cliffs and that perfectly flat top, it was the ultimate natural fortress. This was where he was going to build his city of the gods, his own personal paradise, right on top of it. And the way he designed it was just brilliant. This wasn't just some castle plopped on a rock. No, it was a whole city built on 3 levels. Down at the bottom, you had the lower palace and these incredible gardens, all protected by massive moats. Then you climb up to the mid-level, and that's where you find the famous Lion Gate and the art. And then way up at the very top, the summit, that's where the king had his private palace. And just think about trying to get to that upper palace. We're talking about 1,200 steps. Steep exposed steps carved right into the sheer rock face. That journey wasn't just a staircase, it was a defense mechanism. It was designed to intimidate you, to completely exhaust any attacker long before they ever laid eyes on the king. And that just shows you how incredibly advanced Sigiriya was for its time. This was no primitive fort. I mean, the water gardens at the bottom, they're some of the oldest landscaped gardens in the world. And they were fed by this amazing underground hydraulic system that still works today. The whole thing was just a masterpiece of urban planning, perfectly mixing these beautiful, symmetrical, man-made designs with the wild, natural landscape. Okay, but Sigiriya wasn't just about walls and waterworks, right? It wasn't just about defense. As we kind of move up the rock in our story, we start to uncover its more intimate secrets, the stuff that has really lasted. This is where the fortress really shows you its soul. Tucked away in this little sheltered pocket on the side of the rock, you find these absolutely incredible frescoes. They show these beautiful golden-hued women sort of appearing out of the clouds. Now, who are they? Are they, heavenly spirits? Are they portraits of the king's court? Maybe they represent lightning. Honestly, scholars are still arguing about it. But what we know for sure is that for more than 1,000 years, these paintings have completely captivated, and sometimes even angered, everyone who's laid eyes on them. And right below those paintings is something that might be even more amazing. It's called the mirror wall. See, it was originally polished so perfectly that the king could literally see his own reflection in it. But over time, it turned into a kind of ancient guest book. For hundreds of years, from the 7th to the 13th centuries, people who visited were talking monks, nobles, soldiers, you name it. They carved their thoughts about the frescoes right onto the wall. It is a literal conversation frozen in time.
So, what were they writing? Well, some people were just completely blown away. Take this one visitor. He wrote that he was so overwhelmed by the side eye of one of the painted ladies that he basically just had to lie down on the floor. Just total infatuation. But then you get a totally different take. This one visitor, a Buddhist guy named Kiti, saw a much deeper lesson. He basically left a warning telling other people not to get too caught up in the beauty. He was reminding them of a core Buddhist idea, that attachment, even to something beautiful like art, will eventually just lead to pain. It's a really deep philosophical comment. And then there's my absolute favorite. It's this rare voice of a woman, and she just cuts through all the serious stuff with this sharp, funny comment. She seems to be speaking for the painted women, kind of making fun of all the men trying to write these fancy poems about them. She basically says, "You dumb guys are trying so hard to write songs, but not a single one of you thought to bring us any rum and molasses." It's so funny, it's so real. It's just this incredible human voice reaching out from the past.
And here it is. This is the wall itself. I mean, look at that. Every single one of those little scratches you see etched into that plaster, that's a thought. That's a feeling. That's a real reaction from a real person who is standing right here in this exact spot more than 1,000 years ago. It's more than just writing. It's this incredible, one-of-a-kind record of how real people engaged with art, and it's all preserved for us in stone. So what does it all mean? What's the big takeaway from all this? I mean, what can this ancient fortress, a place built from fear and covered in art, possibly teach us today? Well, it turns out its legacy is surprisingly relevant. Okay, first, let's just talk about the engineering. We live in a world worried about climate change and water shortages, right? Well, Sigiriya's water systems were designed to catch, store, and use every single drop of rainwater. It's basically a masterclass in sustainable design from 1,500 years ago. They weren't just living in harmony with their environment by chance, it was because of some seriously brilliant ingenuity. And that ancient wisdom, it's directly inspiring people today. This place, for example, is a resort near Sigiriya. It was built on old, worn-out farmland, but they deliberately turned it back into a thriving wetland ecosystem using the very same water management ideas that Kashyapa's engineers came up with all those centuries ago. How cool is that? But really, beyond all the incredible architecture and engineering, maybe the biggest legacy is the human one. That mirror wall, it's so much more than just ancient graffiti. It's proof that art has always made people feel a whole range of things: desire, devotion, humor, even a little jealousy. It's a powerful reminder that there's never just one right way to experience art, and it gives us this incredibly rare, totally unfiltered look inside the minds of people who lived so long ago. And that kind of leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? The mirror wall is, for all intents and purposes, a 1,500-year-old comment section written in stone. For centuries, people left their mark, creating a permanent record for the future. So what about us? In our age of social media, of digital posts that vanish in a day, and endless streams of data, what conversations are we leaving behind? What, if anything, will people be able to find and understand about us in another 1,500 years?